Hi guys, my name is Jo Rogers and I'm the CEO of NaviStar Legal. And we are creating a tribe of next generation lawyers to provide affordable legal wisdom to small and mid-sized businesses. And today, as I have been doing, I've been interviewing amazing business people. I met Adi through LinkedIn, and I'm going to ask Adi to give himself an introduction. It's Adi Kaimowitz, and he's from Virtual Actuaries. Adi, tell me a little bit about you and I guess your background. How did you come to set up Virtual Actuaries?
Thanks. So I feel so blessed to be put into the category of amazing business people. You said it, not me, but I hope that I'll live up to it. I think amazing business people are people that are able to sweep, and clean up after everyone else. Okay. So the quick story is that over the years, I worked in a lot of different businesses, and about 10 years ago, I started a recruitment business for actuaries. I was there for I owned the business for about 8 years, and then I needed to take the network of actuaries and do something different with it, because unfortunately, websites like LinkedIn made it impossible for a recruiter really to work and get good roles. And so after much deliberation and a few different ideas, I decided to rather open up a consultancy with a group of very talented actuaries, and we opened up Virtual Actuary. So that brings us to here. I'm the air traffic controller of the business. You get the pilots, you get the passengers, you get the ground staff. I'm the person who tries my best to make sure people don't crash into each other.
What a great way of describing it. And what a great pivot. So you pivoted as a result of tech coming in. You suddenly went, this isn't working as well. Let's set up something different.
Well, it sounds wonderful in hindsight, but the reality is the reason people pivot is because they're at the edge of a cliff. And it's, needing to pivot is probably the realization that you need to pivot is probably the most devastating thing anyone can get to. But if you can get to a point where you can successfully pivot, well, then it's the stuff of legend. But I mean, there's a lot of people that wanted to pivot, but not so easy to do so. Very tricky.
It kind of brings me to the idea of change, because people say that all the time, when you get, business mentors and you get, just pivot. There's that Friends moment where they're moving the sofa around. Somebody said to me, pivoting, it's like pivot. You got to move. Exactly. It sounds easy, like it's just, you've just got to pivot. But actually, there's a lot of mental change that happens in that time. Like, what happened for you? Was that was that a kind of big business challenge? Was it easy for you to do? Like, what happened for you in making that change?
So I think it's very similar to the situation we're all in at the moment, where you're in a situation of desperation. One always looks at the pipeline of work that you have into the future. You walk proud. We got clients. Where we're going. There's vision. There's if you're lucky, there'll be exponential growth, but any growth or any direction is beautiful. The problem is, as soon as you see that is now switched off, then it's like, okay, so let's reevaluate what we can do with the tools that we already have.
Yeah.
And so, like a lot of people probably listening, they have tools, they've established businesses. One doesn't just crawl under the covers, which is actually what you want to do. If you feel that you want to crawl under the covers, that's a great sign that you need to pivot. Unfortunately.
I love that. That's great. And do you have kind of going off topic?
No. So I'll tell you what happened. So you asked me why I got to that point. Well, in a simplistic way, when I realized that LinkedIn was very disruptive for the recruitment business, we pivoted. So.
Okay. Amazing. And was there anything that you, in hindsight, would do differently, or do you think, exactly what we did was exactly what we needed to do in setting up your business? Setting up the new branded business. What would you do differently?
So I wouldn't do anything differently because in hindsight it worked out.
Mm.
But it wasn't the first idea that I decided to go with. Unfortunately, the pivot took 2 years.
Right.
So, it was the pivot doesn't just, I mean, it never, so, but it was 2 years of 4 different ideas and dissecting those ideas. Now, when I mean dissecting, I mean thinking about them non-stop for 2 years. Excuse me, you think of the first idea, you dissect it, not so good. You think of the second idea, not so good. And when I got to I think this was the fourth or the fifth idea, so a pivot really is a non-stop thought process. That's not one quick meeting where you really have to think about it.
Yeah. And it takes time. That's what I like about that message. It takes time, because it'd be so easy to think in this moment where things are changing so much, like, oh, okay, yeah, oh yeah, I'll just I'll go off and do that. Actually, it takes a lot of time and it takes iterations. That's what I love about business people, is that there's not so much attachment to, right, this is what we do and I'm sticking to that. It's like, okay, right, time to move on. And I guess now is as much a time to change as anything.
Well, so I can bring up a quick topic which I think will resonate with a lot of people. A lot of people have been the manager, the business owner, the presence at the office. Now, no one is in the office at the moment. Everybody has to pivot, unfortunately, at the moment. And so the key really is to try to understand what are the strengths that you bring to the business, and more so, what strength does your business bring to the market, and to be able to do that from home. There's no point in thinking, this is going to last 3 weeks or a month or 2 months or 3 months. The reality is a real directional change is about acceptance that this is the new norm. So I would rather say to anybody thinking at the moment, where to from here, it's really about, I want you to almost imagine, or I'm speaking to myself, that this is it. You're never going back to the office. If you do, it's a bonus. But this is it. So get on with it.
Yeah, and and it is it certainly for a period of time, and who knows when that's going to end. So have things changed for you, because you work from home normally, right? Or how have things changed for you in the business world? We'll talk about personally later, but specifically in the business world, how have things changed over the last few weeks?
Everybody is affected for many reasons. We all have to pay those that work with us, whether we can, actually utilize their services or not. So there are certain service providers that we have to pay because we've committed to paying them. So that's the first thing. So we're affected because we have a responsibility to other people that rely on us. That's the first thing. The second thing is that luckily our business has been set up for such a scenario. We run what is known as a lean business. And I've spoken before that lean is not about saving money or about, not spending money. Lean is about, if you are hit with a crisis, you will pray to God that you were a lean business, because a lean business is that you don't have massive overheads that you can't get out of. It's not about saving the money. It's about, if hit with a crisis, the lean businesses will survive. Okay, so that's the first thing. So we're a lean business, and so it hasn't hit us financially as far as commitments that we've got to office space and salaries and so on. The other way that it's affected us is that in any situation, clients will be holding back slightly on stuff that they want done.
Yes.
What I've tried to do is to utilize, firstly, I've been working from home for years and years and years. A lot of our actuaries work inside the client's offices anyway, although we have a flexi arrangement where they can work digitally and remotely on most occasions, and we've pushed for that. And so it hasn't actually disrupted that at all. Okay. as a final note, what this has really done is that it's allowed me to refocus on what the clients are going through at the moment. In my circumstance, I believe that, we rent out actuaries. That's what we do. We have, teams of actuaries, and the clients utilize us for a year at a time, 6 months at a time. We're a full turnkey actuarial consultancy, and the clients utilize our actuaries. In most cases, we become an extension of the in-house team.
And
our rates are,
don't you? You work with the big clients, you work with the big corporates, don't you?
Yeah, and 85% of our clients are the biggest insurers, reinsurers, banks in South Africa, and in some cases the world as well. And so what I've tried to understand now is, they would need work done. There's work that needs to be done. Now, under normal circumstances, they would go through their HR team to try and hire somebody internally, because that's normally how they do it. And then in circumstances where they want to use a consultancy, we would hope that they would choose us over our competition. Okay. But I've also realized that potentially the HR team and the hiring process at our clients at the moment is a lot trickier, because they don't really know what's going to happen. How long is this going to last? Do they want to hire somebody full time or not? So I've spent hours and hours and hours on the phone right now, phoning the clients and just reminding them that my understanding is that if they have work that needs to be done that normally they wouldn't want to use a consultancy because they'd rather have somebody in-house, they are never going to get to a point where they can hire somebody full time now. It's just, there's too much uncertainty. They don't know what's going on. So you know what? Let's rather just, mention that. So rather just outsource to us for 3 months, 6 months, because we're already on your preferred suppliers list.
Okay, so you were talking to me about the things that have changed, and one of the things you were saying, and I wanted to come back to it, was the lean business and having the lean business. And what does that actually mean? What does that actually mean for you, and how do you create that lean business from the start? Like, practically, what does that look like?
So what it looks like is that, the default of most people when they start a business is, let's spend some money. Let's get
the big computers. Let's make it, yeah.
we want the entrance hall. We need to be in a prestigious location. We need a marketing campaign. They think that there's this one big hit, that the clients are going to see their name in lights and they're going to all come. So my opinion is that the best way to rather move forward with a business is to try to spend no money. What a novel idea. It's like, okay, we need documents we need a company profile, we need a company branding, and okay, well, surely you don't need a full advertising agency for that. You see, a lot of the people that start businesses as well, they come from the big corporates. Now, the big corporate, you're the big macher at the table, kind of pointing your fingers. You have a marketing department, sales department. We'll get them to do it and come back to me. I'll make a decision. I'll be very strategic. So, we need to understand that a lean business is normally for startups, but in most cases, if your mindset is correct, you want your startup to become a very big corporate as well. But the same must hold true. So the lean business is, do you have to have a full golf day to interact with your clients? Do you have to have bring your clients in for a cheese and a wine to be able to get a message across to them? No, you don't. You can get your message across in other ways. Do you have to fly business class? Absolutely not. Now, the problem with big corporates is that one of the perks of working at a corporate is that you love those perks. You love the lavish desks and, just the smell of leather, okay. So what happens is the problem is that kind of like, that wastage has to make its way into the bills that the clients pay. So what I'm saying is, if you can, the reason why some of the lean companies are taking out the big corporates, why there's this disruption, is because the corporates need to really trim away the fat. So the lean mindset really just is, how can we get down to absolute basics? Is there a template on the internet for documents that we need?
Mm.
Is there a way that maybe we don't need a CFO, but maybe we can just outsource the function once a week to somebody for a few hours? The lean mindset says, do you have to give away very, very, very expensive corporate gifts when rather you can be a little bit more thoughtful and just try and get the clients to think about you? So there's a lot of things going on there that will allow a business at this time now to go, that was a smart move.
You mentioned to me when we first met on LinkedIn, you were saying to me your social media strategy, which kind of surprised me, to be honest, because you were talking about Instagram and how you connect. And you also had a philosophy around kind of investment and bringing investment in. So, like, do you remember what you were saying? I mean, I'm sure you do, because
yeah.
you're very clear about your philosophies around these. So, yeah, I'd love you to share those, because they kind of relate to sales and keeping lean, but also just selling, like just get out there and sell.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on there. So the first thing I'll talk about, if I may, is really about social media and which is really your company's branding online.
Mm.
Okay, so firstly, the email campaigns must stop. I don't think we've ever had an email campaign. It is rude, it is cheap, and it's basically just shocking. Okay, so we don't do any email campaigns. When I get emails in, if I spot in a split second, if it doesn't go through the spam, that it's just, I'll literally just delete it.
Mm.
Okay. The second thing is that, firstly, LinkedIn is free in most cases. You can have your premium account. It's very useful. I have a premium account. It just allows you to do more. Very, very useful. But ultimately, I remember once a client wanted to be involved in something. He was like, well, the only reason we want to be involved, we want the industry to know what we're doing. Isn't that interesting? They wanted to do a marketing campaign. Any marketing campaign is really about let the industry know what we're up to, what we're doing. It's fresh. So you don't have to have billboards. Okay. So ultimately, it's really about content. But it's about relevant content. You don't want to just be passing and resharing. You want to create a bit of content like we're doing now. It's relevant. People want to hear about it. And, by default, they'll think about your brand. So it's really just about sharing content, which is fun and interesting. That's really what I think social media is really about. It's just your brand is interacting with the internet in a million different ways. And sometimes it's competitions, sometimes it's just like doing little things that some people might notice. It doesn't have to go out to a million people, but in essence, the most important thing is to try and get to a point where your clients can see it. That's the key. So how do you get to that point? Well, there's a lot to say there. One of the things, so I'll give a quick synopsis of what we did. I had spent 10 years, or before that, there was also some time at another recruiter, building up a network of actuaries. In essence, that was a Microsoft Access database or file. I then took that entire database, first name, surname, private email, and mobile number, and I converted it into a .csv file, which is a contact file.
Mm-hmm.
I then uploaded the contact file to Google Gmail contacts. I then synced my phone with my Gmail contacts, so they all became contacts on my phone. And then when we opened up the Instagram account, the LinkedIn account, all the other accounts, you say, please sync with my contacts. Very nice.
Simple.
In a simple. Well, yeah. So, and then it will find them for you. Would you like to connect with, Jack Jones? Well, most certainly would. So Jack Jones, now connect with you. You find the correct Jack Jones. Now, back in the day, you'd have a raffle, business cards, and this is a way where if you have those business cards, unfortunately, it is a manual process of creating the database. And then more than that, you've got your Facebook targeted ads. You use the same lists. Very useful.
Yeah.
And then you've got, there's other platforms, but in essence, really about once you're there and you're interacting with them, you want to put some nice content. So that's kind of how social media, although social media is your business online. And then we talk about, what is known as you as a brand. So that is not the company itself, but rather you are the company.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to go too much into that because there was a thing about, investment that you wanted to talk about. But in essence, what used to happen back in the day is company A, which is big corporate, would, want to utilize lawyers. So they would go to a big law firm, very fancy schmancy. But why would they go there? They would go there really because of two reasons. Number one, they understood from a credibility perspective that the law firm gave them that kind of like gravitas. So they really liked that. But more importantly, they understood that they could get the specialization that they needed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like yourself, Joe, you are a brand. And if you have a network of lawyers that have that spectrum of specialization, in essence, you cover that. Because if they come to you, I need a very specific lawyer, and the answer is yes, I can provide that lawyer. That's a beautiful starting point for you as a brand to get business and that might have gone to a big corporate. That's the first thing. But I can tell you right now that, the credibility of the big organizations is not what it used to be. Because, the problem is you would go to XYZ law firm because you knew that Tina was the one that really handled your account beautifully. Now Tina's not there anymore. So there was a time when they would go to a big law firm and who did the work was inconsequential. But now they want to go and give work to Joe because they trust Joe will find the right person to do the work. And in fact, the name of the company is inconsequential. That's you as a brand instead of the brand as a business. So that's kind of the you as a brand market at the moment that we're in.
Actually, before we go on to the investment question, I'm curious, are you finding lots of actuaries making the decision and making the jump to work in this way?
Well, yeah, so our whole business has been, has been built around the actuaries as a brand. They are their own brand. You as a person, the clients know that this young lady over here that is in her early 40s has got 15 years of experience doing solvency reporting in a life insurance capacity. Very credible, potentially even a valuations actuary. Or sorry, what we call a statutory actuary. Valuations is on the pension side. She's a stat actuary. Beautiful. Everyone knows her. So now the clients want her to do the work. So we would bring those actuaries into our business, but very importantly, the way that we structured the business as what we call a peer review nurturing system for scalability for the senior actuaries that allows them to scale themselves. So we bring the juniors underneath the seniors.
Right.
That allows that senior to take on 2 or 3 or 4 clients and have juniors that work underneath her.
And do the juniors work with lots of people, or do they just work with that senior, just out of interest?
Well, they would work for maybe 2 seniors at a time, because those seniors would generally keep them quite busy.
Yeah.
But under normal circumstances, the independent, if they were just working alone, would never be able to scale up a portfolio. That's the reason we started our business as an organized collaborative of independent actuaries that work together in the collaborative to scale. So the peer review means they can check the work of those that are underneath them. And it also means that if the client has a chunk of work for them, then the juniors can do the junior work, they can peer review it, and they can do the senior work themselves. So the you as a brand is that actuary scaling themselves and rather building up themselves as a partner in their own pipeline. It's the same as what would happen at any consultancy where the partners and become more senior and they just have a portfolio of clients and they have juniors that work underneath them. So with us, they get over 82% of the money goes to them. They can decide how to apportion that down to the juniors. At a big corporate, probably 50, 60%, if not more, probably more, 70% goes to the big corporate. So it's quite different to the way that we operate. You know, that senior actuary can choose to take 50%, 40%, 60%, 20% on for that particular client, but apportion some of the work down. So yes, very much so. We've got the independent actuaries that will grow into our business and become a brand in and of themselves, but under the virtual actuary brand. But in essence, the client chooses them. And that's how we grow the pipeline and the whole business. The business is there from an admin and operational and marketing and vision perspective to rather build up those professionals. We're an organized collaborative. It's a long conversation to have about what an organized collaborative is, but it's a new type of thinking of you as a brand professionals working together in an organized way as a lean business.
Great. Really, really good to hear. And I want to ask you about the investment, but I'm just aware we've got a limited time to finish up. But I want to talk to you about investment, because you were saying kind of we had this conversation about sell, like the most important thing for any new business or any business is getting in the sales. But share a bit more about that just before we close up.
Okay, well, our business at the moment is still self-funded. We've jumped over about 3 or 4 rounds of raising. And I always believe that you should ask an investor that if they were going to invest now, what would they want you to achieve? What would they want you to do? And then just do that yourself anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've built up our business to be at the moment, a 32 million Rand a year revenue business. We just closed off our second year. It's actually a bit more than that anyway, but that's another story. And, so, you know, we are looking to do a round to globalize now. But the reality is that, you know, an investor is going to give you money based on your projections. Don't forget, if those projections are wrong, there's clawback clauses. So don't get too clever about your projections, because just read the fine print on the clawback clauses. If you don't hit those projections, you'll be giving them another 30% for £1. Okay. So, in essence, what will happen is they will sit in that first boardroom meeting and they'll say, okay, I understand all the fancy schmancy and where you're going, but let me just ask you a question. How many active clients do we have at the moment? Oh, well, we have 20. Can we all commit that by the end of this quarter, we'll have 35? Whoa, another 15 clients? What are you talking about? And then they'll say, folks, let me just mention something simple. This business is built on clients buying from us. So let's do whatever we can at the moment to get more clients to buy from us. And then normally what they do is they, you know, ramp up the marketing budget, you know, put in some managers so that they're on a massive marketing campaign, bringing more clients, takes the revenue up as it would, potentially at the detriment of quality. But then what will happen is then in 2 years, they would hope to say, oh, a year, oh, look at the revenue numbers, very impressive. Then they will then sell on the investment to their friends at another round, because the valuation and the revenue has gone up. The problem is that, you know, you rather just, they're going to just tell you to bring in more clients. So rather just take a little step back, just take a step back. So don't worry about your valuation and don't worry about your revenue numbers as such for now. Just focus firstly on quality of service, because you want to repeat customers, but then go get some more clients. Why do you need someone else to tell you to go get some more clients? Because a lot of what happens is a lot of paper pushing and admin. You can really get caught up in the admin, almost hide away from trying to get more clients. But I can tell you now that the admin should be done after hours and weekends. And the pushing for clients is significantly more important. That's my philosophy. You know, we've probably got over 75 clients, in 2 years. You know, they're massive companies. Some are smaller, sure, the insurtechs and your fintechs and your investment techs and property techs and so on. It's all about clients. You know, we're building our business into a company that in a few years will have 300 global clients. Now, then we have a proper business on our hands. So it's all about paying customers, what we call the minimal viable product. You know, some people create, bells and whistles products. They put it out there, no clients.
Yeah.
You have to do a round of raising just to keep the engine going. What's the point?
I mean, it's so interesting that you say this, because for me, in this time right now, the kind of people, it would be very easy for a lot of small businesses to go, oh, well, yeah, it's too late. But actually, now's the time really to get out there and sell. And I don't mean sell in a kind of, get out there and sell. I mean, build the relationships, like you were saying, connect with people, keep talking to people, see where their problems lie. That gives you the opportunity to pivot, which is what we were talking about at the beginning. And then from there, you can build something that is, whether or not, because I know many people who are perfectly investable and make the choice not to raise investment for that exact reason, because actually the best investment is sales. The best thing you can do is get out there, sell, and keep going. I mean, I'm talking to myself, not just talking to other people, I'm talking for myself, because actually I need to be reminded of that every day in what I'm doing, and just going, right, we just got to get out there and get selling. And I love the idea of keeping the admin till the weekend. That's really powerful.
And if we had to just realign where everyone is at the moment as a final thought from my side on this topic, it's this. It's make it a priority for the day to phone 5 new potential clients a day.
Love it.
Just 5. I'm not talking about a lot. I try and do 5 an hour. Okay? Just 5 a day. Now, it might not seem like a lot, but if you can get that right, like actually write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on a piece of paper. Okay, that's like your main focus. Everything else is just fluff and dealing with normal work. But then once you phone the new clients and you interact with them and you send them an email and they tell them about your business, and just cross that one off the list. Number 2, 3. So just do that every day for a week. Think about that. That's 20, a week goes by like this. Wow, you turn around, week's gone. But if you can just do that, that's 25 new people a week. By the end of this crisis that we're in at the moment, should that last 2 months, 3 months, 1 month, 4 months, however long it lasts, the best thing that you can do for yourself right now is to interact with 5 new clients a day, 25 clients a week, 100 new potential clients a month. Okay, that's a lot. If my numbers are correct, am I right? That's 5, right. That's a hell of a lot. Imagine 2 months, 200. So what might just happen from those 200 or 100, you might just pick up 3 clients.
Right.
That actually want to buy from you. Just 3.
It may not be now. It may be,
Might even be now. No, I'm saying now. The rest will come around later. But if those 3 clients actually buy from you now, that might just be enough financially to keep you afloat.
Yes.
Just 5 new clients. That's like my little take home.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think that's so powerful. And the whole point of getting everybody, well, certainly small businesses in this environment, just getting people thinking about how they can build those relationships, so powerful, and connecting with 200 people. That's really good.
Yeah, but a long dreary email or like a rude message is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about
actually picking up the phone to people.
Get on the phone.
Yeah.
And you have to speak to 5 new clients. Speak to 5 new clients.
That's a challenge. That's a challenge I'm going to take on as well. That's fabulous. Adi, thank you so much for joining us. I feel every time, I mean, this is my selfish part of actually setting these interviews up. Like, I learn so much when I'm talking to people, because I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, how do you do that? So I'm gaining from talking to people, particularly amazing business people. Yes, I did use the phrase, and I stick to it, because for me, that's how I learn. I learn by listening to other people, and I learn by going, oh yes, I've heard that before. Why am I not doing that? Okay, let's get on and do it. And you've built up your business. I think it was $7 million equivalent. So, that's amazing to do in 2 years. And
if we were counting the hours and in US equivalency, it would probably be 7 million, in what they charge on that side a year. That's in 2 years. Yeah.
That's incredible. So thank you so much for taking the time. I look forward to hearing your personal interview. How do we get in contact with you if we get in contact with you, and how do we connect, and what's the next step? Because I know you were telling me you've got 6-hour, 7-hour, day-long training, which you've got into book form. It may not be ready yet. I know you've got loads of videos on your LinkedIn that we can connect with. How else can we connect?
Well, thank you. So I think anybody that searches for virtual actuary will find me. Okay. And anybody that searches for Adi Kaimowitz will find me. They're most welcome to reach out. There's a million ways to find me on LinkedIn or, via the website and so on. So they can find me with absolute pleasure, or virtual actuary on Instagram. Fortunately, we were the only virtual actuary in the world when we started. So any search of virtual actuary, you'll get hold of me in a split second. And so I have developed it was a byproduct of a byproduct. So I was invited over the last year and a half to speak at a few conferences about disruption and about the fourth industrial revolution, because our business fits into that mold. And subsequently, so that's the byproduct of running the business, virtual actuary. And then one of the clients asked me if I could put together a one-day workshop from the 30-minute talk. So I did. So I've put together, it's about a 5-hour talk, but I can refine it, obviously. So the reality is that it's a byproduct of a byproduct, which I'm turning into a book anyway. Although the truth is actually becoming more so like a video, series. It's actually just easier just to talk about the subject. Yes. But if anybody actually wants their business to go through the course, it's literally just, we could probably do it in one day. They're most welcome to get in touch with me. All their managers we can do it over the space of a day or half a day, whatever the case may be. And I go through topics like the fourth industrial revolution. What is it like to be a lean business? What is an organized collaborative? How to hire and manage millennials? Software that will make your business life more of a pleasure. It's really just about what we call the new age entrepreneur, and kind of like how to deal with things at the moment that we're all facing. And I've called it New World, New Business Fundamentals, because these are fundamentals of business, which are different now from the ABCs that were 15 years ago, or 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even sometimes 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of also like pivoting my time a little bit as well, although I'm quite busy, to be honest.
Fabulous. Well, thank you. Yeah, I know you're busy, because we're getting hold of you and getting this interview. I'm glad that we were able to put it in the diary. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll look forward. I hope lots of people connect to you. And thank you so much for providing us with some wisdom today. See you later.
Thanks for chatting. Bye.